Hello, and welcome to another day of TA the Degen way. Just wanted to go over the Solana chart, starting with the weekly on the Crypto File 622 Ideas page for TradingView. You can just search for it. I posted this chart with a small little write-up on it as to kind of what I'm noticing on the weekly chart. I do expect a pullback, at least 22.25. We do have a very nice gap coming all the way down to 20.75. I don't know why I got 0.225. That should be 22.25 and $20.75. But let's pop into the regular chart. This is the same chart on the weekly. And we have very clear support flipped into resistance with higher lows, with a very clear trend line that's been respected nearly to the dollar 3 times in a row. And now we've pushed up here for 3 solid weeks in a row and getting close to this resistance level. And if we follow the momentum on the downside, we got nice perfect curvature to the upside. Money flow is rising. You can see these weekly waves. Got a little bit of divergence here where we did see a more significant pullback. One could almost argue there is a reverse head and shoulders forming on this chart. There's your left shoulder, your head, and your right shoulder. And just taking traditional targets off of traditional patterns. That puts you even higher. That puts you into breaking these highs. I don't know if I see all that, but if we go down to the line chart, just considering close prices, which is oftentimes far more accurate for price targets and projections, that puts us at about our 42.50. Also brings us to this last unbroken high, and this 42.50 level is a measured move off of our first move. And is also very close to our reverse head and shoulders pattern. But we got momentum rising, money flow is rising. It's looking pretty good. But if we pop back to candles and wicks here, just go to regular candles. We'll zoom in just a little bit on this weekly. And we have formed quite the imbalance, being that we pumped so hard so fast, giving us some space to fill in. You can see this last weekly high over here that was support, flipped into resistance. Right now we're looking to come down and retest that. We could even, if we bounce there bullishly, we could consider this some kind of reverse head and shoulders also, if price holds in the 22.25 area, which would bring us up to $36, where we would also be hitting some of these other resistance levels. We'd be taking the liquidity above this high. And if we consider just close prices and not wicks, we look for a measured move here. I'm just curious where that brings us out. Not quite to 36, but does bring us to our last high. Maybe price comes up and pulls back and retests this $27 resistance level and hopefully pushes up to that 36, maybe cools off, comes down and retests some more stuff, and hopefully pushes on to 42.50, and that's why I'm giving this a range here of $36 to 42.50. I mean, granted, that is a $6 range, but we're also looking at a weekly chart, and if we follow this rising wedge up, we'll see that momentum, as we follow the curvature of this, looks like it would want to culminate right in about that same kind of time period of the end of January to the beginning of February 2024. Maybe price just kind of plays around in this wedge. I'm hoping more for a breakout and a pullback, and maybe a continuation in that area, or maybe coming up and rounding over, playing around, and then coming down for a retest, and hopeful continuation, because you would imagine that being that price formed a range here between looks like about $48 and $27. It's a nice $20 range that we would want to fill that back in again. So I mean, if we can reclaim this range, just want to drag this range down once and show how this most likely corresponds with past price action. Here's our current high. We just look at this range here from $27. You can see resistance here, flip back into support here. So I do think that is a likely scenario. So if we consider this range and just place it on top of $27, 50% of the range is coming out at about this $36 level. A quarter of the range we would also consider to be a significant level. It's coming out at about $30, and 3/4 of the range, which is about $42, we would also consider to be some type of significant level. So I mean, that's what I'm looking at the weekly, but we do have this imbalance down here that we need to pop down to the daily for. Let's delete some of the foolishness we just drew on there. And if we look at the daily, you can see we are heavily in the oversold. But if we follow just the curvature of this daily, which is why I considered this move to be more bullish, because even though the daily has now kind of maxed out, I mean, we're not really expecting a top on this daily until we get in this area where you'd expect, hopefully to be forming some type of divergence here. What we're really looking for is for price to come up here and hang up here for a while would be very, very ideal. And if we hold this 22.25, let's go ahead and change this because that just looks silly on there. And 20.75 is kind of the bottom of the fair value gap that we created on this last pump. I mean, these are imbalances in the market. The only real imbalance right now is we're pretty much filling in right now, coming down to this 22.25 area. Support flipped into resistance. Price came up very, very quick, very hard. Looks like we came up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days straight, and then now we're looking at 1, 2, 3 days down, and maybe we possibly form some kind of a reverse head and shoulders on this daily, and we hold that 22.25 ish level without filling in the rest of this imbalance, which would be super bullish. And hopefully we just crack some of these levels, knowing that we are leaving a little bit of an imbalance here between 24.25 and 22.25 and 20.75. So I mean, personally, I'm willing to take a long position from this 22.25 area. Even though the daily is up here, we would want to come on down a little farther. And we're looking for our smaller time frames, like our hourly, to be getting bullish in this area. And if we follow the same momentum cycle, we can see momentum is curving, very nicely to the downside, where we would expect a bottom sometime in this area. You can see the price action has some nice curvature to it. The question is what do we get here? Do we get just a quick bounce and a continuation, which would follow this curvature in the price action? Or do we bounce bullishly, reclaim our current price of $22.90, maybe 23, and continue up, without breaking some of these structures, and just kind of watching them each step of the way and looking for a harder rejection, or even right here, price come up and rejected any one of these. And if we look on the daily here, let's get rid of some of that junk. At our current swing, here's swing low, swing high. Let's look at some of these pullback levels. So we want the numbers going down. What we're looking at is how much of this swing, well, this is the hourly. Pause for a free YouTube commercial break. You need them strong bones, But here's our current swing on the hourly. Swing low, swing high. How much of this swing is going to retrace is the question. So we want our numbers going down. This is a 33% retrace. There's a reason I have that level on the chart. Here's a 50% retrace. The 61.8 retrace is coming out at about $20.90. So, we see those imbalances on the higher time frames. This came up awfully quick, and even though we got some structure here on the hourly, even on the hourly, we have a little bit of an imbalance coming down to $21.90, So, expecting to fill in this, $21.90 to $22.50 area, it looks like. Yeah, $21.90 to $22.50 seems pretty reasonable and like a sufficient spot for a long position. And we still got this imbalance. If price comes down here and comes up and rejects, we really only have an additional downside target of 5%. That's actually pretty nasty. I don't want to hold for no 5% drop. So either price, we'll see what it does here. But if it can pull back here, a person could consider a long position for a retrace of this. Watch it and get your stop loss to entry. And then if it comes down and stops it out, no harm, no foul with a re-entry down here in this 2075 area. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it more time-wise following this hourly. We would expect, this to be coming down here by about the end of the week, and I expect a lot of these larger pumps to be over, kind of in about that time frame. Pump is over. We're in a downtrend here. We're reversal. But some of the swings I expect to be over on some of the other charts was the middle of the month. Solana seems to be a little bit off. Then we could be talking about even some measured move targets. Wherever this pullback comes out to. You can see pullback to 2075 is coming out nice and perfectly at our $27 sell wall where you would expect a rejection, but hopefully just a pullback to the $25 area, So we get a pullback here coming all the way down to 2075, and then you got your measured move. coming out at about $27, where you would look to come back and not break structure and continue on past the $27 sell wall, retest it, and off to Pump City. So that's what I'm looking at on Solana. I don't know how to be any more clear about it. But if you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. You can join us on TradingView on the ideas section. Post a lot of these charts. On CryptoFile 622, you go to community. Come on down to the trade ideas. And, probably just search the name right in there, CryptoFile 622. Or, even better yet, join us on our Discord. We're posting constant updates, myself and a few other folks. And some of these charts that are posted in TradingView with some more finer dialed setups. If we can get back to the... there we go. Are private with links in the Discord, like a specific trading plan for the week on INJ, CFX, FET. Looking for price to come down into this box here to take a long position. I still think it's probably going to come down for a double bottom before it runs again. Maybe not. It's come up to its support resistance area and kind of broke into it. Maybe it holds, maybe it don't. It's CFX. If we come on down and take a look at that, was looking for a push to the upside. That I was hoping for a bottom here, but instead we got a top pretty much to the hour. And then now we're looking for prices come down to 3/4 of this channel. Hopefully it makes it down to the bottom right at this time cycle. That's the kind of stuff that's going on in Discord. So if that's what you're looking for, join us. But until then, trade well.